This program is brought to you by the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. We provide the professional expertise, tools, and resources to help you succeed. To connect with a business coach, call 502-625-0123 or email sbdcinfo@uky.edu.
Hi, welcome everyone to another Toolkit Tuesday. Glad you're here today. Hope you're enjoying this great fall weather. We certainly are here in Louisville, Kentucky. And as always, just to make sure that you can hear and see us, if you look at the bottom of your screen there, you'll see the toolbar. And if you don't see it, just take your cursor down to the bottom. It should pop up if you don't see it there. And then there you'll find the chat feature. If you would just go ahead and hit that and then tell us where you're joining from. Tell us your name, say hello, and just that you can hear and see us see us okay. And we always like to do this anyway because it's kind of cool to see wherever everybody pops in from. We sometimes get people from all over the country and all over the world, so it's certainly fun. There's Sean. Hello, Sean. Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne from Pikeville. Carla from Richmond. Steve from Bowling Green. Yeah, we're getting them. And Lori from Lexington, Mike, Nika, Kayla. Hey, Kayla. Yeah, great to see everybody. I think that if you guys are like me and we're getting towards the end of the year and the holidays and it seems like business is slowing down a little bit, it's really time to start thinking about the next year in 2023, and hard to believe that this another year gone, but that's when we start to think and prep up for upcoming year. And one of the most important things that you can do with your business is to think about the numbers of your business, but more importantly, work through a budget for your business. And we've been kind of on a financial kick here lately because this is the kind of time to think about these things. And so in that, to help us out with that, I've invited my co-worker and great friend and financial expert, Rhonda Jones, who's a coach here on our staff. And she's going to join us today and talk a little bit about how to put together a budget for your small business. So hello, Rhonda. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks, Dave.
So if you haven't met Rhonda, you can do so anytime you like. She's one of the coaches. She's a great resource. You can go to our webpage at louisvillesmallbusiness.com, and there on the Coach Connect tab, you'll see all of us, and you can click in and get some time on Zoom with us if you want to talk to some of us. So great resource. Good to see you, Rhonda. So I'm just going to hand it on over to you, and let's take it away and let's dig into the numbers and look at some budgets.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Me.
And again, as we go through everything today, while Rhonda's getting set up, in the chat feature there, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to share with Rhonda, just put them in the chat, and I'll be watching that. I'll jump in if we need to, and we'll get all your questions asked and answered, especially if you have something specific to your business. This is a good time to tap into Rhonda right now. So, okay, Rhonda, I'm just going to shut up and let you have it.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Well, thank you all for joining today. Again, my name is Rhonda Jones. I'm a business coach here at the Louisville Small Business Development Center, and we meet one-on-one with you via Zoom or in person to help you with your business plans, your financial projections, helping you with the marketing strategies and whatever you need, and also provide you with industry information. So today we're going to talk about creating a small business budget. This is really geared toward like startups, but it also can be for existing businesses as well. So the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So let's go for it. Got it. Okay. So we're gonna go through a typical list of business startup costs, but keep in mind the actual startup costs and expenses depend entirely upon your specific industry and business. So it will vary somewhat. Okay. So what are startup costs? We can talk about startup costs. Most of our clients are startups. We do have some certain percentage of business that are actually up and running. But even though you might not be a startup, you may want to expand. So it's always good to budget each at the end of the year, beginning of the year, just to kind of see where things are. And so we're going to talk about how to estimate your startup costs or your costs for next year and also budgeting. So what is considered a startup cost? Okay, a startup cost is any expense incurred when starting a business. So keep in mind too that some of these costs, which we will see during this presentation, are one-time costs. If you're expanding or starting a business, you may have to purchase a piece of equipment or a vehicle or some type of expansion cost that you would not normally have to pay that ongoing. So that's basically the definition of a startup cost, just any expense that's incurred when starting or expanding your business. So whenever you are budgeting or starting a business, it's always good to draft a business plan or update your existing plan. So you want to draft a business plan so you can really know what your costs are. So here at the Small Business Development Center, we start off with a projection of 3 years. So we project 3 years of revenue, expenses, what are your startup costs, and we provide templates for you to play with and just to kind of mess around with the numbers and see what makes sense. And we help you with that. We review those with you, and we identify the one-time costs. And if you're starting a business, or even if you're an existing business, a good rule of thumb is to always have 6 months of expenses as a cushion, in your account, in your business account, that is there just in case we run into some difficult times in our economy. So typically, startup costs are, piece of equipment, like I said, a vehicle. It can be anywhere from $10,000 to $120,000, depending on the type of business you are starting. It can be up to $1 million if you're buying a franchise like McDonald's. But if you're just starting like a small consulting business, your typical cost would be around $10,000. Maybe if you're starting a construction company, your typical cost may range up to $120,000. So it depends on your business. And those startup costs usually include, like we said before, vehicles, computers, commercial ovens, if you're starting a restaurant or salon chairs, etc. And so we want to look at you're purchasing your equipment. We don't want to just buy any type of equipment. We really want to get quality equipment that won't break down, that maybe has some type of warranty, some type of agreement. If the equipment breaks down, it will be replaced. So you want to take your time and not rush through purchasing equipment and computers and different items without really getting quality equipment. So one of the first things on your list when starting a budget, when estimating your budget, is incorporating. It's typically under $400, depending on what type of legal structure you are creating. So you may, if you're doing an LLC or S Corp or C Corp, those costs are different. If you're doing, of course, a sole proprietorship, it's going to be very inexpensive. So you want to think about that when you're working on your budget. What is it going to cost for you to incorporate your business? It depends a lot on your industry. If you're in retail or if you need a sales tax license or permit, or maybe you into the insurance industry where you have to have different licensings or different security licensings. So you want to, make sure you know and include all these expenses when getting your business incorporated. And depending on your business, you may have to have an office space, which is a sizable portion of your budget. It can be anywhere from $100 to $1,200. Or you may be able, to work from home and to mitigate costs in the beginning. Will need to come to see you, or you might consider um, a co-working space in the going, and people know that you're what you're doing. That can be anywhere from $100 to $1,200. So also, depending if you're in retail wholesale, in your budget, what it costs to keep your retail going. Of course, you have to really be careful. You don't want to purchase too much inventory where you cause waste or spoilage, or, and not able to sell it. So you have to, really make sure you stay within that 17 to 25% range. And also, you don't want to have too little of inventory in your business, because you may lose customers or clients because they don't want to wait on back order. So, make sure you do your research, see what's going on in your industry with your competitors and what makes sense. And so a good range is between 17 to 25% of your budget for your startup costs for your inventory. And marketing. So you want to estimate your marketing costs. And normally, it's around 10%. And it's lower today due to all the social media platforms that are available to us. The costs are lower than it was 20 years ago. What you can market and budget today to launch your business is much less than it used to be back in the day. You want to consider like paid ads, with signs and banners. Maybe you will have some giveaways to attract clients to come and visit you for the first time. Or you could hire a consultant and give you some ideas to kind of coach you along to help you with marketing your business. But typically, when you have your budget, you want to look at about 10% of that budget for marketing. And also, what's really good today is we have a lot of cost-effective website builders that are available to us. Squarespace, GoDaddy, there's several out there that are very low in cost. Or you may want a real fancy one that you can hire someone to actually build a website for you. But to start off in the beginning, it might be a good idea to consider one of the cost-effective websites that are available to small businesses today. Once you get established, get going, and once you add on more products and services, you may consider having a website consultant or to come in and upgrade your website and make it a little bit more fancier and maybe even more professional. But these are some ways that you can cut costs in the beginning. Okay, payroll. So I don't know if you're going to have employees or not, but if you do, typically the payroll is around 25 to 50% of your budget. And typically it's 1.25 to 1.4 times your employee's salary if you're going to have employees that you pay a salary. So if you're paying someone about $45,000 a year, typically you're going to pay $50,000 or more for that employee with insurances and different taxes that you have to pay. So you want to, before you start advertising, I'm going to pay you $45,000. Make sure you know what else is included in hiring a salaried employee. And what's really popular today is a lot of 1099 contractors. A lot of small businesses are utilizing 1099 contractors, so they don't have to worry about the workers' comp and all those other expenses. So starting out, you may have to hire someone part-time or 1099. But as you grow, you want to budget anywhere between 25% and 50% to have salaried employees on your staff. Okay, a lot of times when we meet with people, they're like, do I really need a CPA? Do I really need a small business attorney? And I'll say yes. Of course, they're not going to be full-time. They're not going to be doing everything for you because, of course, you might have some software that you can use like QuickBooks, whatever. You may do your day-to-day or your weekly or quarterly financial statements yourself, but you do need a CPA for, to file your taxes, to give you maybe advice on which legal structure is best for you as far as getting the best tax advantages. Maybe they can consult you on employee benefits. It really can help you save money to hire a professional consultant like a CPA or a small business attorney. Even if you're not working with a small business attorney on a regular basis, hopefully you don't have to, but you want to have a relationship built up so you know if you need someone, you are familiar with this person that you can call on, and that you have budgeted for this situation because you don't know what may occur. So you want to budget anywhere from $1,200 to $5,000 a year, depending on the size of your business, for these professional consultants. So yes, you must have that in your budget. So another important expense is insurance needs. So we all need general liability insurance when we have a small business to protect our businesses from customers who may want to sue you, or if you need commercial insurance to protect you from fire or some type of situation that takes you out of business temporarily. You want to have the proper insurances in place, workman's comp. If you into the insurance industry or other type of businesses, error and commission insurances, because it protects you if you make mistakes or someone comes and falls in your establishment. So you want to have all these insurances in place, and also look at insurances if you are that would protect you if you're in business with someone else. If they were to pass away or leave or whatever, you want to have insurances in place that would protect you from having the person who passed away to come and their family try to buy you out or interfere with the business. So you want to make sure you have a really good insurance professional so you are covered for any possible loss or lawsuit. And so you want to estimate general liability is around $1,200 maybe a year, give and take a few hundred. Commercial insurance, depending on if you have a commercial property, $200 to $2,500 a year. And then workman's comp is normally 75 cents to $2.75 per $100 of payroll. Errors and commission normally run around, anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a year. Of course, you might not need all these, but you need at least a general liability insurance. Okay, well, when I'm working with my clients and we're working on the budget and they find a building or a commercial's location that they want to utilize, they said, well, how can I know what the utilities will cost me? Well, you could, maybe possibly call your local utility company and ask them for estimates, or you can see what it costs for the person or the business before you, or you can estimate around $2 per square foot. So you'll know what it will cost for your electric and your gas, and that's just an estimate, but you also can call, like I said, the utilities company. They can probably give you an idea, and also water. And then internet and phone, and make sure you shop around for the best deal for your internet and phone, so you can save money, especially if you are trying to expand or start up. You want to save money, so make sure you kind of look at the different carriers to see which is best for you. Okay, so this is one of those one-time costs that you would have starting a business or even expanding a business. It's office furniture, which is usually going to be about 10% of your budget. Depending on how many employees you're going to have, you have to have desks, chairs, and office supplies, computer programs. So, just kind of count on about 10% of your budget for these particular items. But what's really good about this is, like I said, these are items you don't have to continue to pay for. I mean, if you buy them outright, but if you have a loan on it, of course, it's part of the loan repayment plan. But these are usually one-time purchases. So we have fixed expenses or costs. So we know that we have our fixed expenses and we have our variable expenses. So we know every month, at least for a year, that we're going to pay X amount of dollars for our rent or lease or mortgage. And if we have a salary employee, we know the salary is going to stay the same unless there's an increase, next year. And utilities, they usually fluctuate. However, you can call the utilities company and ask them to get on some type of payment plan, so you can have a better budget that you want to pay a certain amount a month, so you can know, exactly what it's going to cost you, so you can really stay on top of your budget, and they can work out a plan for you, so you can have payment plans opposed to like, oh, I don't know what my utilities are going to be next month. And then normally your insurance payments are the same unless there's some type of big claim or whatever. It could be increased, but normally they're the same. And also loan repayments are typically the same payment every month. So we know these are just some of our fixed expenses. There may be more, but these are the typical expenses a small business will have. And we want to be as close as possible with these estimates. And then we have our variable expenses and costs like raw materials, cost of goods sold, that varies quite a bit. And then you may have, wages and commissions, and these fluctuate depending on, the commissions, or if the person's on some type of commission sales or 1099, or so we know that these so wages and commissions, they're gonna vary. So we just want to get a range of what that may be, depending on the industry, this type of business you're in, and the size of your business. And I think it's always a good idea to have a miscellaneous expense. Just something that, something that may come up that you didn't think about, or maybe some type of maintenance issue may arise. And so you just want to make sure that you have a miscellaneous expense that you are setting aside each month. And so maybe you may not use it, or you may use some of it one month and none of it the next month. But just count on having that expense, the unexpected expense to come up, because life happens. So we have to project our revenue, but we have to remember we have to set realistic goals. So I have people come in and say, okay, what do you want to make? They don't have, they say, well, I want to make $250,000, and they're just starting out. I want to make $500,000. But we have to remember, when work on our budget, that we set realistic goals. So we know how to get to those goals. We're not just pulling a number out of the sky and just, this is what I want to make. It's not that easy. So when you're projecting your revenue, and it's just say, you can either sell units, sell products, or provide services, and you want to think about the profit margin. How much profit are you going to make? You want to make sure you are profitable. So you don't want to just set a price, any price. You want to see what's going on in the industry with your competitors. What does it take to make that amount of money? And we want to break it down line by line to see that we are being realistic, and we can actually make a realistic plan in reaching all these goals. So we're just going to talk about, this hypothetical situation. So just say we're projecting that, okay, we're going to make $100,000. We pretty much determine our expenses, but we still say we're going to make $100,000. And so we want to know, okay, what are my profit centers? What are my revenue streams? So depending on what you're selling, so maybe you have 3 products, product A, B, and C. So you have 3 profit centers. So we have to determine, when we make our $100,000, how much of each one of these profit centers, what percentage is going to contribute to that $100,000. And we want to know what cost us to make that $100,000. What does it cost us? Okay. So for example, we have 3 products. I just call them products A, B, and C. And I know when I sell product A, B, and C, I'm projecting that I can make $100,000 my first year or my first 6 months or whatever that I'm in business. Okay, so say, for example, you're going to a lender, or you're talking to someone that you want to invest into your business, you talk to someone you want to go in business with you. They can say, okay, well, no, tell me, how are you going to do it? I mean, I want to see it line by line. Okay, so first of all, we're still estimating. And so we're going to say, okay, we're projecting we're making $100,000. And product A is my most popular product. And I usually get 60%. I'm estimating, according to the industry, according to my competitors, and according to all my research, this product will bring in 60% of that $100,000, which equals to 60,000. Okay. But I know that in order for me to make that 60,000, I've determined the cost of that. It's going to cost me $20,000 to make $60,000. That's product A. Okay, and so then in product B, because we've done our research, we're not just throwing numbers out there. We know what's going on in our industry, know what our competitors are doing. We know from our experience that product B usually brings in 20% of my total sales. And so I know it equals $20,000, but it's going to cost me $5,000 to be able to make $20,000 of that $100,000. And we have one more product, or one more revenue stream, or one more profit center, whatever you want to call it. And that particular product also brings in 20% of my sales. However, it cost me 10,000 to make 20,000, opposed to the other product B, it just cost me 5,000. So you can use this for many reasons. You can say, you know, hey, I know where my money's coming from. I know what percentage of each of my product and sometimes if you look at product B and C, and if C is costing you too much, you know, then you might want to maybe discontinue it, or maybe not, or you may want to sell more a product B because it's costing you less. Because remember, we want to do what's profitable to make a profit and generate income, so we can create jobs and have a positive impact on our economy. So by breaking down how your money is generated, how your revenue is generated, and what percentage from the product or services and what it's costing you, allows you to make decisions on whether to continue a product or increase the price. You know, if it's costing you $10,000 and you determine that, you looked at the numbers, you may, you know, increase the price. Because this is what you call managing your business, knowing what's going on in your business, knowing how to count your own money. And of course, like I said, we're not trying to be accountants, but you want to know how to count your own money by being able to look at your financial statements to see what's going on with your profits. Okay, so how to determine our projected revenue. So we said we want to make $100,000, and we determined already that product A, B, and C, the cost was A was 20,000, the cost of B was 5,000, the cost of C is 10,000. So we have determined that it costs us $35,000 to make 100,000. So before taxes and all the other stuff you got to pay, the profit is 65,000. And so at the end of this, if you want to see how profitable we are, then you could make some decisions as far as, you know, looking at your budget, maybe increasing the sales with or increasing the price with product C, or getting rid of it altogether. Okay, so we did talk about the 3 products. Okay, and so we're going before a lender and we're asking for money and we're saying this is what we can do. And so, okay, that sounds great. Okay, but you know, we have to also provide some critical assumptions to support what we said we're going to do. So if I said that I could make $60,000 on product A, then I need to show how many units or how many services I have to sell in order to make that happen. You know, it sounds good. Okay, I want to see how many units and the cost of each unit in order to generate that income from that particular product. Okay, of course we can break that down because we know our costs. But then in addition to that, I want to know how you're going to make it happen. How are you going to make it happen? Okay, you said it's going to take you 40 units to make X amount of dollars, and and this is your profit, and etc. And those are all great. Okay, but I need to know how you're going to make it happen. I need what does it take? How many people you need to talk to? I mean, what's your marketing strategy for that? If you talk to 20 people, like for example, if you're in the insurance industry, and if you talk to 10 people, normally you might close 6 of those people. So you have to have your averages showing how you're going to make it happen. And it is work, but you'll feel so much more confident. And the lender or your investor or your partner or even your family will feel more confident if you have a plan, a strategy to show how you're going to make this happen. These projections that are talking about, this budget that we said we're going to be able to take care of. So we said, how are you going to make it happen? We're going to determine how many of each product to make the projected amount. And what marketing strategies are we implementing? These are very important questions that need to be answered. And that's what we do here at the Small Business Development Center. We make you, well, excuse me, we don't make you. We recommend, we guide you, we advise you on, to think about this, how you make it happen, because the more you know, the more you know that the chance of your success are better because you know the numbers, you know your competitor, you know the industry, you know what it takes, you know your profit margin. So this is just as hypothetical budgeting. We projected we're going to generate $100,000 our first year. We determine our cost of goods sold is $35,000. Our operating expenses are $30,000. Our taxes are $20,000. So we're in the black right now. So we're at $15,000. We're in the black, and we not only know our numbers, we know how to get the numbers. We know how to make it happen. And so we're feeling pretty confident, and the lender's feeling confident. Everyone's feeling confident to move forward or to expand. This is not just for startups, because you may want to expand. You may want to, okay, I want to hire 2 more people. Okay, what is it going to cost you? And okay, how are we going to make it happen? How are we going to sell those extra units or those services to be able to pay these salaries? Okay, so we've talked about budgeting, we talked about, expenses, we talked about variable expenses and fixed expenses, and we've done a lot of wonderful things. So we need to establish a legal entity. We talked about the cost of that, and we established a budget, but we also want to think about, since we're budgeting and we're official business or we're expanding, we want to think about having a business credit card, along with opening a business account is recommended, because we do not want to commingle personal expenses with your business expenses. You're a CPA, you can't want to like that, and Uncle Sam wouldn't like it. You don't want to get any tax trouble. You want to make sure you keep your business account separate from your personal account, and your business credit card used only for business purposes. So remember, please don't commingle your personal expenses and your business expenses, because we have a certain budget for our business. We have a certain budget for our home, our personal life. And you may use some of your, of course, write yourself a check or get a salary from your business. That's great. But it's going into your personal checking account to pay your personal bills. Okay, so what is the average cost to starting a business? Well, of course, it depends on the type of business you're opening and your industry. We know that. We can't just have, it's not a set number. It depends on the size of your business, and it varies case by case. And so what we recommend is just using some type of budget template, just to kind of play around with the numbers, but be realistic. kind of overestimate your expenses a little bit and maybe underestimate your revenue. And so if you know that works out, you know that you're going to be in the black and you'll be at least be able to break even your first, the early part of your business. You'll be able to break even because you've done the homework. You know what you're doing. You thought about it, and you've done the research, and you're working with professionals and consultants to help you to make great decisions. So the things to keep in mind is some business and startup costs are recurring, and like rent, office supplies, and payroll. So we know those are going to be, every month we're going to have to pay those. And then we have our one-time costs. Of course, like I said, when you incorporate, office furnitures and all those type of things are the one-time costs. So it's kind of keep that separate in your mind. So when you first starting your business or expanding it, you just know some of those costs are going to be a one-time thing for a long time until they depreciate and you have to, replace them. Let's see here. Move this out of the way. Can't see. Oops. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. It's not. That was a mistake. Okay. Okay, so and keep in mind that some of these costs are certainly non-negotiable expenses. So don't try to mitigate some of those expenses. Like I said, like if you can start off at home, you can do a co-worker office, or just you can just travel to your clients for now, or maybe if you have 1099 clients that employees that you 1099 contractors that you can use until you get your business going. Try to utilize the not so expensive options opposed to the high ticket purchases that can put too much pressure you on in the beginning, and stay within your budget. You want to stay within your budget and work your budget, and also continue to work with your coach at the Small Business Development Center, your CPA, or other your partners, or whoever else is supporting you in your business. So you want to just make sure that you stay within that budget, and to have a business plan, and know that business, once you write that business plan and those financial projections, they're not written in stone. They need to be updated. Your goals need to be updated. The business plan needs to be updated. So you want to make sure that you are just being really attentive to the numbers, because this is something that you have, your dreams, something you really want to do. You have a passion for it, and you want to be successful, and you have a lot of people that are depending on you. So don't be afraid to ask for help. People, want to help you. We want you to be successful and get your business going. And we're here to, to help you any way that we can. So. Okay, ended kind of early, but I'm sorry. I guess, do we have, I'm just going to stop sharing this, I guess. And we're going to answer questions.
Mm-hmm. That's great, Rhonda.
Yeah.
So Charles has a little question here about when you were talking earlier about the product costs, and he wants to know, do you include rent and operating expenses within the product costs? How do you calculate that?
The product costs, like, well, no, that's your operating expenses. Like your rent are your operating expenses. Your product cost is like if, say I sell shoes. Okay, if you're talking about the total like operating expenses, I guess you can include it. But when I'm talking about cost for the product, I'm talking about what did it cost me to purchase that item and to get it sold.
Mm-hmm. Okay. A couple folks have questions about using personal funds. Let's see. So first, You say no commingling. If I have the capital, how do I show that it's for the business?
Okay, repeat that. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Like commingling funds, how do you prove that you're not commingling funds in your business?
Well, I don't know how you can prove that you're not, but I think if you keep really good records, it's to your advantage. It really makes your life easier. It's so much easier for your taxes. You get better tax write-off. You just want to keep it separate. So when I'm doing anything that if I'm going traveling and I know it's for business, I'm going to keep that separate. Then I'm going to the grocery store, or if I'm buying supplies for my home, I'm not going to use my business account for that, because it's going to be eventually it's going to be a big snowball. You're going to wish you've never done that. So you want to just keep your business expenses separate.
Mhm.
It'll make your life much easier. I promise you.
So you're saying like, if you were going to get, buy I don't know, a piece of equipment or something maybe, or say you're going to buy a microwave. I mean, you would have the receipt in the business's name, not your personal name. That way it would be one way to prove that it's for the business.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, okay. I see the question. Oh, yeah. To make sure, yeah, if you're going to buy a microwave, that's why I suggest that you have a business credit card. So if you're buying a microwave for your business office, you use that business credit card opposed to your personal one. And if you happen to just use the one by mistake, you can just make a note of that on the receipt. Oops, you can prove it, because I use it in my office. I just used the wrong card. So I think pretty much no one's going to really, I guess, go like, oh, let me see. But I'm just saying, just try to keep it separate. Have your business keep your receipts separate in a separate business file.
Yeah. So Concepcion, she also says it's very important to spend least possible at initial startup. She learned the hard way, see what will be enough to get you by for a while before you expand. So yeah, that's a great point. Carla asks about, can you speak a little bit about using personal funds to start a business?
Well, I think you can use personal funds to start a business as long as you have good records, because that's your personal injection. So if you go, say, for example, you're going to a lender, you want to borrow, $30,000, but you've already spent $3,000 out of your pocket. That's your personal investment. So that's okay. That's your personal injection going into that business. So, I mean, I've never had anyone have a problem with that. So I think but I do think that I did want to mention that I think it's a very good idea if you have 6 months of operating of expenses in the bank before you open, and use it as a cushion. I don't know if I mentioned that before, and don't depend on those initial sales to actually pay your expenses at first. Have 6 months cushion in the bank if possible.
Yeah, that's great advice. Let's see. So Suzanne, yes, we'll send you a copy of the PowerPoint just as we will to everybody else, and a recording. We'll do that later on this afternoon. So Donovan asks, what strategies or resources do you recommend to help individuals properly make 3 to 5 year projections?
Well, strategies, I think and we can assist you with that, but you need to basically just really know what your expenses are. I suggest just overestimating a little bit your expenses. If you think, if you're doing your research and maybe you called the utilities company, and they said, well, it's probably going to range between $200 to $250 a month for your utilities. Budget for 300. A budget for this for $25 more. And then, and if you think, okay, I know I can make X amount of dollars, maybe 20,000 a month, I just know I can do it, but just count on 15 and then see if it works. Because if the worst case scenario happens, you're still in a good place. You got your 6 months of expenses in the bank for a cushion. You've estimated a little bit your expenses, you underestimate a little bit of your revenue, so you're not stressed out.
Right. That's great. That's great advice. Let's see. That looks like about all the questions, unless someone wants to slip one in here really quickly. But yeah, so that looks like about it. Good stuff, Rhonda. Oh, here's another. Back Concepcion, she's structured as an LLC, single member. She says when she applies for credit cards, I also add my wages from a regular job. That's how I funded my business when I'm starting. Is that okay?
Okay, say that one more time, babe. Sorry.
So when she applies for credit cards, she uses the credit
Mhm.
cards to fund her business.
Mhm.
But and when she applies for the credit card, she also includes as income her regular job.
I think that's your income. I don't think I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you can include your entire income. Mhm.
right. Yeah, so they would normally do that anyway for a credit decision. So yeah, that's
Yeah. Mhm.
I agree with you, Rhonda. Yeah. So okay. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much. This has been really great. I think we've all learned a lot.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And just, please reach out to one of the coaches here at the Small Business Development Center. We'd love to assist you with your budgeting and with your financial projections, with your business plan to help you get funded. So reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you,
Yep.
Dave, for allowing me to come on today.
Yeah, so just go to LouisvilleSmallBusiness.com and hit the Coach Connect button there, and you can schedule some time with us right there. You don't have to talk to anybody, and just get it done. So we'd be happy to see you. Well, thanks for another Toolkit Tuesday for joining us today, and Rhonda, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
And Janet, thanks for driving the ship for us again today. And we'll see you guys on the next Toolkit Tuesday. Have a good Tuesday and enjoy this fantastic weather.
Thank you.